I'm going to make it to the UFC in 5 years, and here's my plan. I've been training for 6 years. I'm 24 years old. I've had 13 amateur fights, and it has always been my goal since I was a kid to make it to the UFC. Now, that kind of sounds a little crazy when you put it into perspective, but this is something I've dreamed of and I've wanted for a very, very long time. Now, some of you may ask, what's the plan? How are we going to do this? How is this even possible? I've competed on some of the biggest stages in amateur can. I fought for LFA. I've fought for the biggest regional promotions that an amateur can at my level. I've come up short in my past couple fights. I've lost 5 fights in a row. I believe that this has allowed me to learn how to lose and how to come back from fights. I've trained with some very high-level UFC fighters, high-level UFC coaches. I know that this is going to work. Funding a fighting career can look a little different depending on what you do for your day job. I work in the IT field. I'm a field service technician, so I get to work from home some days, and then other days I'm out in the field fixing a problem. So for fighting, I make $1,600 every 2 weeks. Now that is enough to pay my rent, get myself groceries, and have a little bit of wiggle room here and there. I definitely need to start saving a lot more. I coach at the gym that I train at to cover my membership, so that is not an expense to me. And to make supplemental income is the reason I've started this YouTube channel, to see if there are some like-minded people who want to build a community and want to follow me on my journey to the UFC. Now, having this job and being able to work from home allows me to train when I want to, but sometimes it does require my attention and it takes my attention away from fighting sometimes. My training schedule is currently 5 days a week skills training and sparring, and then I also have 2 to 3 times a week strength and conditioning training. 2 times usually on one of those strength and conditioning days, I will also do cardio, and then 1 to 2 days out of the week, usually on Fridays and Sundays, are my rest and recovery days. So ice baths, stretching, so on and so forth. That's important because you need to train like a professional to make it to the UFC. This is something I've learned obviously over my past 13 fights, is that how you train will really show up in your fight. This also brings me to another point. I currently have an injury. This injury that I have is a possible career ender. It's a shoulder injury that's going to require a bone graft. Since I have a little bit of downtime from fighting at the moment and training due to this injury and going through all of the MRIs, the scans, the consultations with the doctor, that's allowed me to kind of venture out and make this YouTube channel. Possible career-ending surgery, but I have a very, very good doctor who I'm going to. I'm in very good hands. This is a good time to kind of take some time off, reflect, get stronger, and to come back a better fighter. Now, like I said earlier, I've lost 5 fights in a row. That's no pretty thing, right? Losing 5 fights in a row means that I'm doing something that is not working. Whether that be training, whether that be sparring, there's something in my preparation that is not working or not showing up in the fight. I've also fought some very, very high-level fighters for how skilled I am in my career. Now, I am a striker. I've always been a striker. I have about 6 or 7 amateur kickboxing fights, and then the rest of those are going to be MMA. This has also allowed me to kind of reflect on my weakness. My weakness obviously being grappling and wrestling, more so than just like your typical Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They are going to make me better. Having these losses, being able to go back and watch these fights, seeing where I made mistakes, what I can bring to the table to differentiate my outcome, right? Because we don't want to just keep doing the same thing and ending up in this constant loop of, am I getting better, or is this just going to keep happening? Nutrition, obviously training 5 times a week, and then also having those recovery days in between. I need food and nutrition to fuel my session. So how am I going to do that? Well, first of all, I have an amazing girlfriend. She makes the best food I've ever tasted in my life, and she knows how to make me food when I am in a weight cut or when I am on a diet. So that helps tremendously. But other than that, what the diet consists of is high protein, low sugar. We're going to go for lots of water and electrolytes just to support that through training. Obviously, I'm sweating a lot. I'm losing a lot of electrolytes, a lot of water. We also want to eat carbs before we go to training. So I'm going to have some good carbs, hydrate myself before I go to my training. That's what I've been doing for the past year, and I've seen a lot of improvement in how I've trained and a lot of improvement in training specifically. So that is the nutrition side of things. Like I was saying earlier, grappling is still one of my big weaknesses. Doing jiu-jitsu tournaments. I just recently got my blue belt belt, so going to gi, that is going to help me a lot in my career. But I also think that on top of that, I need to go to wrestling classes, strictly like folk style, Greco-Roman type wrestling, so that I can kind of get some of those techniques and some of those positions underneath my belt. Obviously, losing 5 fights in a row, there's some mental hurdles that we're gonna have to jump over, and I've been dealing with those. I've done a lot of journaling. This also brings me to like kind of self-improvement. Been reading a lot. The book I'm currently reading is The Atomic Habits by James Clear, an incredible book if you guys have not read it, but I'm also journaling on top of that, and I think that's just allowed me to kind of be more honest with myself, you know, be honest about my mentality and how my mentality has been going into fights. I do have a little bit of a lack of belief in myself, which is not a good thing for the career that I have chose. So I need to start believing in myself, believing in my skills, because I am an incredibly talented fighter. I put in a lot of hard work and I get a lot of compliments about that. I need to start believing that myself. But like I said, yes, reading, creating, this YouTube is also another outlet and almost a sort of journal for my journey. That is the reason for the video. The last thing in like that self-improvement and, you know, learning from my last fights is taking care of my body, going to the doctor, getting massages, stretching. That plays a big role in how you feel during a fight and how you feel just during training day to day. I need to start taking a little bit better care of my body. Not to say that I haven't done those things, but I need to do them more frequently. That is my plan for that. We're gonna go and kind of start to wrap up on the reality and the realistics of my dreams and getting to the UFC, right? Ideally, I'm 24 years old. I need to go pro in 2027 or 2028 at the latest, and I'm going to need 3 more amateur wins. Now, I could just go pro and start fighting pro fights, but I want to get, after this surgery and this time off that I've had, I want to have 3 fights relatively close back to back, and I need to win all of those fights. I need those fights to be good. I need them to be highlights if they can be, or I need it to showcase my grappling. I need to get a submission win, or I need, you know, a wrestling domination sort of unanimous decision win. When I go pro, I'm going to need to take good fights. Take fights strategically. Don't just fight the hardest guy just because that's what people want me to do, or that's what the promoter wants. I've done a lot of that throughout my amateur career. I've fought a lot of really high level guys. Again, like I said, for where I'm at my skill level, I need to pick my fights a little better when I go pro, especially early on. I'm gonna need about a 5-0 record. Hopefully some of those finishes, but once you go pro, these are going to be tough fights. Picking my fights again is going to be incredibly important. So I'm going to need that 5-0 record. I'm going to need to build a bigger fan base and start to sell out some local shows, get higher placement on the card. I have great personality. I have a great brand that I'm building. So I just need to kind of kick it up a notch and start to get more people on to the wagon. Now that also comes with sponsorships, and that can also go into the supplemental income for being a fighter. I need to start reaching out to brands that I like and that I actually use to see if A, maybe they could sponsor, B, maybe they could provide me with some products that I can make some videos on, so on and so forth. So I need to start reaching out to some smaller local brands, a couple brands that are smaller within like the fighting community niche. I said I need to sell out these local shows. Now, not every single person needs to be there to see me, but when they go, they need to know that I'm on the card and that I'm an exciting fighter. Like I said, those 3 amateur fights, I'm going to need to really perform. Like, I really have to perform. That kind of brings me to the end of the reality. Take every opportunity that I'm given, and once I get to about a 5-0, 6-0 record, start looking for the Dana White Contender Series call, start looking to maybe possibly go on to the Ultimate Fighter, earn a contract that way, or take a short notice fight, you know, stay disciplined and always stay training. I'm always in the gyms. If an opportunity comes up like that within the next couple years, I'm going to take it. Closing out some thoughts that I've had about transparency, just being honest with myself. I do have a possible career-ending injury. It's going to take quite a bit of time to get back into the saddle and fully get back to training, and I recognize that. But this also gives me a great time to start to build a community online. It gives me a lot of time to get stronger and to fix a bad injury that has held me back through my past 13 fights. The recovery is going to be honestly about 6 to 12 months from surgery to, you know, being back and able to fight and ready to take a fight. Last couple of fights haven't gone my way. I am more than capable of having won those fights, and going back and watching, I've made some mistakes and I did some good things and did some bad things. Focusing on the good things and trying to fix and work through the bad things, I think think is going to just level me up as a fighter even more. A lot of people like to say fighting, like when you play the UFC game, right? You put your experience into certain avenues of your character. It's the same sort of idea in life as well, right? If I'm a good striker, I should probably go and spend some time wrestling and spend some time grappling a little bit more so that my skills are up to par with the people that I'm competing with. That is my plan. Let me know what you guys think about it. I appreciate you guys for watching. It does mean a ton to me. Show your support. Give me a like. Leave a comment. Let me know if you train, if you fight, if you fought before, if you do BJJ, whatever. Let me know. Would love to talk to some of you guys. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Deuces.